AI respects no silos. And AI benefits can only be reaped once we've connected not just the data, but the data and the people behind it.
Welcome to a brand new episode of our podcast, Human and AI, Minds, Machine, and a Gradient Descent.
Thanks for tuning in to our geeky podcast, where we discuss the fascinating field of AI and machine learning, corporate craziness, passion for technology, and the role of humans. We are Uli and Avery, your hosts for this episode.
Yeah, that's right, actually, Aubrey. And now let's dive directly into a fascinating and constantly moving topic, AI in mobility. AI is revolutionizing rail systems across the globe, not just by optimizing traffic, but by radically transforming our public transport systems, making them sustainable, reliable, and inclusive across the globe.
Absolutely. And with urban populations growing and infrastructure expansion becoming increasingly more difficult, AI provides the digital leap forward we desperately need. And this is why we invited the perfect guest for this dialogue. Please join me in welcoming none other than the incredible Sara Elkady, Senior Vice President of Strategy, Digitalization and Technology at Siemens Mobility, joining us today. And Sara is leading global initiatives at Siemens, showcasing her strategic brilliance and passion for empowering the next generation of leaders. And Sara really excels at connecting business, technology, and people. And we can't wait to jump into this conversation and learn more.
That's
Sara, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Yeah, is it?
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I mean, you had me already at geekiness, crazy, and passion. I was saying, okay, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, that's us. So let's maybe start by getting to know you a little bit better. So what are 3 hashtags that would describe you best?
Okay. So, hashtag curious, hashtag passionate, hashtag connected.
So can you explain what's so curious? That means curious by definition, or how did it get?
Yes, I would say by definition, in the sense of, I believe that our world includes and has a lot of great, amazing things that are waiting to be discovered, including people themselves and the thinking and the ideas that they have. So very much curious about the different cultures, different technologies, different businesses. And also that takes into the passionate part, passionate about being parts of solutions that help address any of the issues we have out there. And connected in the sense of, I really do believe that great ideas come when you connect people and you connect the technology as well. So it's an aspiration that I would like to be part of that connected ecosystem that works towards a solution.
And connecting, that may be, a good segue, and talking about, you, in your current role, you connect, this really the real world in terms of rail infrastructure, mobility, right? Physical things, and anchoring up, lifting them up, elevating them up in the software space, right? And that at a very prestigious position somehow, right? In strategy, right? Technology transformation at the very core of your company currently, I guess. Can you share a bit of what was your path, your rail track, let's say, right, into the position? Was there always, the ambition level that you say, like, I want to have an impact on that. I want to lead. I want to be in the strategic area devoted, or how was a very early Sara arising into the current position?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think there's this version of knowing from the get-go that when you're at age so-and-so, you want to have this and that role, and the next one is the following role, and this is how the CV is going to look like, and maybe just the place of flexibility would be where you have your job, or maybe the business area. That was never me. For me, it was always the idea of wanting to have an impact and where I can have most value add. So throughout my whole career path, I always when there's an opportunity, I check 3 things together. I even say it's the 3 circles. How much are they coinciding most? Mm-hmm. Is it something that interests me, where I have passion for, where I believe that I my eyes shine when I talk about it. It lights up my fire. Is it something where I have a niche? I can add something to the table. I can be part of the solution again. And then what is this new opportunity about? And that was very clear for me that I did want to take a leading position because leadership is also something that interests me. However, as you know, it's not a straight line with a plannable path. Rather, the focus was on connecting people, creating value for customers, and then having impact on the world through that. And that's how my career actually took me to technology and took me to the strategy part. What I love about this position is that we get to craft the strategy together for the whole organization with our business units, our regions, and our management. And we get to even test the whole thing before going out into the world by having the technology side, by having the digitalization side, by playing around with topics and then pivoting and then saying, okay, the technology works. We go into that direction and we have technology leadership in the market.
And we can really feel your passion and your fire. So I think we just got you at the right place, and we can't wait to hear more about that. So you're at that intersection, and how do you see also AI maybe transforming the mobility sector? Are there any examples that you're particularly passionate about that you're seeing?
A lot. So, of course, technology in general, like I mentioned, is what drives us because we say we have technology leadership to solve the challenges out there together for our customers. And AI is or was another tool or another vehicle throughout the technology realm where we go on that endeavor. But of course, it's a very powerful tool. So that's why it's for me like creating a whole makeover for technology, right? And that makeover manifests itself towards the customers in portfolio elements that we sell there, so products and portfolio elements. And for example, the topic of maintenance, automating our inspection, which occurs as one of the first steps in your maintenance workflow, helps a lot. It sounds like it's a simple part, but of course we have a lack of expertise in the railway industry worldwide. Our customers are suffering for not having enough, you'd call them the experts in that field. And that's why we're saying, okay, we automate more. We have more using computer vision and using also AI to automate those first couple of steps. And building on that, predictive maintenance was always a topic talked about, but not really always conducted. Rather, you had more preventive maintenance. And that helping tool that takes us to predictive maintenance is indeed AI, because it has the capacity to process all that data and indeed have an estimation for the future. And that's one example towards the portfolio. There's another one, of course, with something both me and you would experience on a daily basis as a passenger. Disruptions occur, and they occur a lot. And that means that as an operator, as a dispatcher, you have to change things in your system instantly on the spot and across so many different fleets. So in optimizing those fleet operations and fleet management, we also utilize AI solutions. And last but not least, one topic that keeps us all awake is, of course, sustainability, because we are keen on keeping this planet for further generations. And utilizing AI to reduce our energy consumption is a great value add. We have even the project in Hamburg where we indeed are working on reducing 30% of our energy consumption just by making sure that the acceleration and deceleration takes place in accordance to that new and adopted fleet management and dispatching plan that happens due to disruptions. So connectivity again, connecting all those different systems together and adding the intelligence layer through AI creates those benefits. And that's just talking about portfolio towards the customer. There's a huge world internally as well.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So then since 3 years, I would say, Gen AI, generative AI, has taken the world by storm, right? Every executive, every strategy office, right, I guess, right, is being buzzed around, and how it can be detangle more value, how it can be used to customer, but also to internal processes, right? What's your view on, leveraging, generative AI technology, and what areas are you maybe planning or, thinking and seeing on the future already along the tech stack?
So I believe that the biggest win through Gen AI is that it took out the topic of AI from the experts field and the world of those who appreciated AI since the 1950s and the geekiness and nerdiness that goes around it here and just ripped all the walls around that community and all of a sudden took all the know-how, spread it across everyone, all the organizations, because all of a sudden it was accessible. It was possible to talk with your different systems and so on and so forth. And hence, two great wins were conducted in my view on that front is first off that, like you said, every strategist, every management, every P&L responsible, so your business leads, an entrepreneur realized, okay, that's something I need to capitalize on. And the second thing is, of course, that we also, the interface was much easier with all your AI solutions. And that's why internally, like you mentioned, we said, okay, we need to do more with less anyhow. We have a huge backlog of orders for mobility. And that's why we need to simply be able to address that huge backlog and will not be able to double and triple our capacity. So we need AI. And that's where we said, okay, internally, we use AI for engineering processes because that's where you use a lot of expertise there. And we see what can we streamline and automate and add that intelligence of AI to and make our jobs also more attractive to our people in that way.
But even if you think generative AI is a buzzword, now agentics comes into place, right? And since 1 year now, since Davos and BEF and these fellas, now all leaders in the world talk about agentic AI. Do you have a few, even so, maybe a rising buzz and a rising trend, and everybody tries to get to detangle a bit of the role and the relevancy for agentic AI community for their business? What's your view on that?
So, first of all, I agree 100% with you. It's now like the new additional hype or level that comes on top. And we started with, of course, the normal AI activities followed by Gen AI and now agentic. I do believe that a part of that is being tackled in our internal activities. I'll give you an example. So tender requirements, processing and turning that into also chatting with your document and turning it into something you utilize when you bid on big projects. What we did is that we said, let's break down that process and then see in which process steps can we use AI, whether gen or traditional. And then in that whole process step, what also helps is to say, which process steps do you definitely need the human in the loop because of safety or robustness considerations? And which steps maybe you actually need an AI in the loop, but another AI that checks the quality of the first step that you did. And if you then automate those couple of process steps where you don't need the human AI, then you reap some of the benefits of agentic AI, of it being autonomous and taking decisions on its own. And it's definitely not a carte blanche to do that everywhere. We are very keen on making sure that the AI we use, especially in products and portfolio, is traceable and understandable. Otherwise, we do not cover the safety requirements that we need in such an industry, which involves people's lives. So we, of course, take it very seriously. So trustworthy AI and safety AI is very important for us. And at the same time, where we really are keen on developing ourselves into is to understand the benefits of both, like descriptive agents and then also the artistic agents. And then to say, so on those process steps, I definitely need a descriptive part. I definitely need something traceable, like I mentioned. But maybe in your design phase, instead of starting from scratch and looking at the supply chain issues that we have worldwide, maybe I just use an artistic agentic AI and ask it, you know what, here's the material I have at hand. Here's what I used to use before. Here's the design before. Can you give me like the first couple of ideas of what I can do in my next new train? And then take it from there. And I think the percentage as of now, things will change in the future, but as of now, would not be more than 10 to 20% if you have an overall AI solution. That 10 to 20 could be like this artists. And then the rest is, of course, then more going into descriptive agents.
Interesting view. The both sides. I heard it the first time, though. The artistic, the creative, the shaper, and then the descriptive aspects on that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting to really look at the process more holistically and then break it into chunks and then really understand where do we need that industrial grade AI, because like the effects and impacts can be so severe, and where can we maybe also go a little crazy or think outside the box.
And I think it's also one of the lack of utilization of AI when we simply say, okay, here's what I used to do for 10, 20 years, and AI is just another tool, and let me just add it on top. It's one of the things we've been trying, we as a whole industry, but I believe even beyond the industry of railway, that we've been trying and not succeeding at so much, because then you realize the first hurdle you meet and the first wall is the data topic. No, you can't run things as you used to run it before because you weren't used to connecting everything and then adding the layer of AI on top. You need to just do a big chunk of homework on making sure your data has the right quality, the right quantity based on what you need to do, and that it's findable, that it's somehow usable across the whole organization. And then the second big hurdle, like something that stops you from utilizing the full potential, is if you say, I'll just keep the process as is. It's a great opportunity to take a look at your whole process and to see what do you change now that you have AI in your own loop and in your own process. And I think the less willingness we have to do that, the less our wins and great strides that we would do using AI. So other way around, huge potential once we adopt that.
Yeah, and really reinvent and maybe take a step back from how we used to do things to really maybe, come up with something more artistic, as you mentioned.
Which maybe I think links nicely to what you said in your intro. Thank you for also picking on that. It's not just a technology topic. Yeah. It's a technology topic. It's a business topic from a business model perspective, whether business model towards the customer, maybe even you go into AI as a service. What are the different opportunities? The modus operandi that you have internally, and it's a people topic because it involves the willingness of having this holistic view and considering the whole horizon instead of just a vertical topic. And the convergence can then be more when you take it from those three angles.
Absolutely. And this podcast is also not only about AI, but also about the human aspect. And what you mentioned in the beginning was that what drives you is like, that passion, like that having impact and creating value and also leading. And we stumbled upon, or I guess it was also unavoidable to hear about that massive project where you also had a substantial role to gain that 8 billion rail project. What a massive achievement in Egypt. And I guess that was, or that is a project for at least the Siemens history books. So can you maybe walk us a little bit through why is this project such a game changer in the context of global mobility?
Sure. And maybe also to elaborate on what you said, it's for the history books. Indeed, one of the papers where our CEO, Roland Busch, and the Minister of Transportation were agreeing on certain topics, they ended up at some point going into specific details and writing that down and agreeing on it, that one paper actually made it to the Siemens museum that we have in Munich.
Now we're talking.
All the golden nuggets. Golden nuggets.
Signed by both. Right? Signed by both. And honestly, what is great about this experience that I'm thankful for is that we get to really live the mottos and the North Stars that we put across. We say at Siemens Mobility that we stand for transforming mobility for everyone. And for me, this project, coming from Egypt myself, transforms not just mobility for everyone, it transforms lives, it transforms the country, it transforms the economy. From a country that doesn't have any high-speed network, we have railway since the get-go, actually very early through actually the English, and but we don't have a high-speed network. And with that project, once it's conducted, you actually bring this country to be number 6 on the worldwide ranking of high-speed networks. So from not being on that range until being there. But of course, this means 2,000 kilometers of 3 modalities, high speed and freight trains, and then passenger trains like your normal commuter. And of course, you can imagine this is something, if you discuss 10% of it also here in Europe or elsewhere, you might take such a long time, also in Egypt. But in this case, we were all keen on having a fast track. So 2,000 kilometers, we negotiated for weeks, months, actually, even to conclude this last 2 contracts, 2 years even.
Wow.
And doing that was on a daily basis. The whole thing succeeded only because there was a commitment from everyone involved that we wanted to make something work out. And we really looked at what does the country need? What does the customer need? And better, faster, and cheaper, of course, is very important, but also at the same time reliable. And yes, I mean, what I could also share with you is the fact that we had so many discussions with regards to adopting for the environment. So maybe not specifically alluding on AI, but to give you one example of the real and digital world coming together, we took the high-speed trains that are a flagship here in Europe, Velaro, and said, okay, best standards, let's take it there. But of course, there's different in the environment, in the heat, and also in the sand, for example. So one topic there was that we said, okay, what are different measures that we can take there to improve the impact of sand on maintenance, on the whole life cycle costs of those trains? And we used simply a digital twin simulation to have so many different iterations of what can we add even mechanically so that we improve the impact or avoid the impact of sand on the trains. And ended up adding spoilers at certain places on the train that minimize that impact. And that was one of many measures. But this just shows how just through multiple simulations, multiple iterations, adding AI to also come up with different ideas and then implementing it with a spoiler, a mechanical piece of steel on your train has such a huge impact for your maintenance, for your reliability of the trains.
That's pretty awesome, right? And I guess it pays on to many dimensions. And maybe this coming with a hard segue back a bit on the role of AI then further is, how do you see the role of AI in paying on to the sustainability targets? Do you have a bit of more strategic view? Where does it has a positive contribution to it?
Yes, we're also working on that. And of course, it's a topic of AI for sustainability or AI's impact on sustainability. And it's both. We need to be always mindful not to overutilize huge, large language models for something that could be actually solved with traditional AI or with even something else because of what it entails from an operational cost and also then, of course, the sustainability impact. So what I'm fond of is that the whole AI community and tech providers are now taking a look into how we can be more efficient and effective.
Green AI initiatives, something like that. So energy efficient models in order to use better or more greener compute, right? Needs, yeah?
Exactly, exactly. Because at the beginning, I think very few people were mindful of that part of the whole technology. At the same time, we're also using AI for 2 angles. We're saying, okay, we use AI to support our organization to make sure that we're following the regulations relevant to sustainability. And there, Gen AI comes as well in there. You're chatting with the different wealth of data you have on this topic and getting suggestions and following that. And then also implementing those regulations and standards. And the second part is AI for circularity. The fact that we also use AI to make sure that our own products, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's trains, are also implementing certain measures to make sure that they live longer, that we are also making sure that we create the digital product passports for the batteries, for example. We take a look at the product carbon footprint in a totally different way utilizing AI. So it definitely has much more wins in that, especially when it comes to recycling and upcycling your parts at the end of the life cycle. You connect all this to your database and then you can even make sure you find a new life for that. And so the wins are much more in that side and we're still exploring even more possibilities.
Yeah, so really exciting times ahead, especially also with AI itself becoming more and more efficient, but also like by like connecting those different perspectives. And speaking of connectivity, because you also mentioned that something that that you're passionate about is like really connecting people. And now with such a big project that you're driving, how is this rail project really connecting maybe even communities and people across different regions, maybe in a more physical sense?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I recall last summer, Uli and myself sharing a stage at the Mobility Business Conference when we said, we want to go all in for AI. Well, then bear in mind, AI respects no silos. And AI benefits can only be reaped once we've connected not just the data, but the data and the people behind it. And the great benefit is that now we have the technology challenging us. Topics like digitalization, sustainability, and AI are more horizontal topics. They capitalize on connecting your trains and rolling stock, whether from engineering or procurement or all the different functions together, with your infrastructure, with your regions, because only when you have that wealth of technology together and data, then you can reap the benefit of it. So from an organizational perspective, we're mirroring what the technology is requiring through that setup. And at the same time, looping back to the whole connecting the real and digital world to create value for our customer. Physically, like you said, what does that mean? It means whether on the shop floor or on the train, in the field, through the point machines, we need to connect all of that through the sensors, the right data and the right sensors to our systems. And that's what we do. And then it's not enough. The second layer is that we're saying, okay, within those systems, railway industry has a fragmented legacy, wealth of systems, and we need to connect them together. Plus, for our customers' sake, we need to connect them with the systems of the customer as well. So we connect all that through APIs. So you have the physical to system connectivity and system to system or system to software connectivity. And then you add the layers of the digitalization of the AI technology and so on and so forth. And with that, we say we create simply additional rail capacity using digitalization. And you cannot build every day a 2,000 network or 2,000 kilometer railway network. You need to always do more with less and increase the capacity of the network that you have there. So what better could it be than to have the value proposition of when you connect this physical world and the digital one, you're creating additional digital or through digitalization, additional rail capacity. And so I guess the connectivity is no longer an option.
And given the scale, as you drive, as you said, like, AI all in, and, it's a top down, but also bottom up priority to, leverage and explore the value of AI for the daily task and how we do things. How do you motivate the scale in adoption in the organization? How do you get them interested? How do you get them enabled, right?
Yes, we're doing a lot of activities and we see already a shift. So from the beginning, there were a lot of learning activities, the learning nuggets that we call them, about the different sides of AI or facets of AI. I think what also helped a lot is a lot of testing, playing around. At the beginning, there was not much understanding for the technology and what it can do. And even once we understood it, like the prompt literacy wasn't really there. So people were thinking, okay, it's terrible. I don't know why you guys like it. But then once you started saying, no, hold on, there's a way to talk to it, which probably won't be needed anymore as AI is getting more and more adapted to us rather than the other way around. But as of now, it helped to do a lot of prompt literacy activities. And also, of course, rightfully so, there were a lot of concerns around AI. And it is very important also not to be naive around such technology. Rather, we want to make sure we're ahead of the wave and we're putting the narrative and making use of AI, shaping it, and not the other way around, that it shapes us. So it was very important in the communication even that we say, yes, there are risks and there are certain angles that we want to avoid relevant to AI, and here they are, and let's have a discussion about that. And discussion in different platforms and different formats. And at the same time, here are the benefits and here's how we can reap them. And that came across in different approaches, whether it's, again, like a learning nugget or also the hackathons, the hack days, and showing. I mean, there's always the huge impact of, we even take that through videos of saying, before AI, here's this engineering process, and here's after AI. And that was enough to create a huge buzz around it. But still, of course, we need to do more. And that's why we're launching our next innovation campaign of AI Station 2.0. We had one already a couple of years back. And this one would entail, first off, a competition. People love competitions.
Hell
Bring
yeah,
your
they do.
So we ask them to bring their ideas, and either it's something they can develop themselves, and we support them in doing that, or it's something we believe we need to support through experts or through a development budget, and we support them to do that. And around this huge campaign, we said, okay, we definitely make use of it, communicate about what we're doing, what we intend to do, and provide a lot of learning opportunities about AI. Yeah. And as soon as you show what's in it for the user, you don't need to do anything else. They're all game.
I really love that approach. Like you're creating, basically that safe space. Like you're encouraging people to explore. You're also creating that relatability. Like maybe I only know the process, like it's always been like this, and now you show me like what is the delta, what is the extra that we can add on top, and then you provide like the learning environment, the learning nuggets, and then you add like some gamification maybe with the challenges. So I think there should be something in for everyone. So very excited.
Our engineers and our own people also know that right now there's no other option. It's anyhow no longer a wave you can duck, so to speak. Yeah. And at the same time, it's a great added value because we don't see ourselves tackling the huge amount of topics we want to address and tackle without using AI. So the notion and the understanding now, thankfully, it is part of our solution and it's part of our advancement moving forward.
Yeah, and somebody in this room even said that AI will always be part of the solution. But I'm not going to say who. Sara, you've traveled the world. You've spoken on so many stages. You've gathered lots of experience. So maybe if you had to pick like one piece of advice that you would like to share with people in the audience that are listening in today, like people that dare to make a difference, that maybe experience like this corporate craziness right now, that are maybe even a little nervous about what's going on, what is a piece of advice that you would share with them out there?
I would share a very personal advice that helped me, which is taking every experience as a learning experience, because it also poses for you the opportunity to grow. We talked about Egypt today. I really went to Egypt to work on that project only because I received a phone call. Are you ready to do something on top of your work to go just develop an opportunity that might be something, might not be something, but we need to see? And I, after only a couple of seconds, said, hell yeah, because I want to learn from it. And it's and never expecting to have the output that we have today. And when we take different experiences as a learning one, it opens this huge amount of opportunities and opens the door to those, because you could always learn, pivot, and scale. Learn, pivot, and scale. And if we close that option, we miss out on a lot. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah,
and
nice.
this podcast has certainly been a learning experience for us.
Yes, for sure, always. And it is now.
And Sara, since you like challenges, we thought, why don't we incorporate a little challenge for you at the end of this podcast? Time was really flying. We're so grateful to have had the opportunity to welcome you here. Before we wrap up, we're excited to play our signature game to bring in a little more fun towards the end. It's called Authentic Autocomplete. It existed way before ChatGPT was even a thing. And I would throw out a few sentence starters, and I would love for you to finish them. Are you ready for the final challenge of this afternoon?
Let's go.
Let's go. Hell yeah. Siemens is
the company that can leverage the best potential out of AI because of having the technology, the great people, and also the different domain know-hows.
Nice. Love it. Take it, right?
And mobility is
where we really transform everyday lives of people, making use of technology as well.
Absolutely. Technology with purpose is?
I would have said Egypt project as an example. Yes, is exemplified through working from the customer side. And for me, biggest example is Egypt project.
Very tangible things, right? Not putting the hats in the stars, but the foot on the earth and the tracks, in Egypt.
Poetic.
Yeah.
Uli, why don't you take the last one?
So if you could invent one rule for everyone in the world to follow, it would be?
Treating every person and every endeavor we undertake with curiosity and respect.
Yeah, that's true. And we are respecting a lot of your openness, of your passion in the last hour. We've tried to actually, for the audience, a spoiler alert, we tried it, right? And our passes last time didn't work out, right? We were commuting and not commuting and had a bit of traffic jam. But Sara, we are really grateful that you were that clear, that boldish, also that transparent and open to sharing, a bit of your view on the role of digitalization, specifically on AI in your current personal role, but also in your professional role. So thanks so much for being with us here.
Thank you. It's an honor being here. And yes, when there's a will, there's a way. And I was definitely willing to be with you guys today. Thank you for having me.
And folks out, get connected, right? Look on LinkedIn, look it up, comment obviously on the episode currently, right? What we can do, what to improve. We are always curious also to improve and connect with Sara, obviously, to stay connected and stay tuned, stay bold, committed and open-minded. And we hear us in the next Siemens AI podcast. Cheers.